Chris and Rob, it is time for an Emmy intervention. I think that you're both off base with your predictions for Best Drama Series. Let's start with where we all agree. We're all picking Dexter, we're all picking Lost, we're all picking Mad Men, but this is where we go astray. Boomer, you believe the vampire curse will not will not affect True Blood. I'm talking about the whole Buffy the Vampire thing. This was a show that everybody loved, and it never got in, and you think that this is going to be the one exception. Why?
Well, that was way back in quite a few years ago on a very tiny little network. I think HBO knows what they're doing, and they've got Alan Ball, who had 6 Feet Under and had many nominations and some wins there for that show. So, and Anna Paquin won an Oscar winner. I think it's peaking right now. It's peaking right now with a brand new season.
Yeah, but if there's one... Go ahead, Rob.
No, I think that's a really good point. It's definitely a good point. Remembering Buffy never made it in because, firstly, it's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Secondly, it's on a network with a frog as its mascot, and nobody ever watched the WB unless you were a 13-year-old girl with a big pimple on your face. And if it wasn't for they were the people that watched the WB, okay? We're talking about HBO. We're talking about Alan Ball. We're talking about Anna Paquin. We're talking about fantastic ratings. So Chris has a very, very good point. I'm not picking True Blood only because there are just way too many contenders. So I'm not on the True Blood bandwagon, but I really want to be because it's a really good show and has a good shot.
Yeah, but I think...
Well, it was not in my predictions for a long time. I just now added it to my predictions this week.
Rob, you're going to be very glad you're not on that bandwagon because it's not a bandwagon. It's Chris's lone loose cart hurtling over an Emmy cliff. Okay, I think if there is, any HBO drama series that gets into this mix, it's In Treatment. For this reason, it deals with crazy Hollywood. It's about psychiatry, and they're all nuts out there. They all talk about. I hang out. Yeah. I live in Hollywood 50% of the year. They all talk about their therapists out there, and they mean it. And it's has snob appeal. We know what snobs Emmy voters are, right?
In Treatment equals Huff. Sorry. Remember Huff on Showtime? Yeah. Another show about a psychiatrist that would clean up in the acting nominations and even a couple of wins. It could not get into drama series, and I don't think In Treatment will either.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, I don't think In Treatment will be coming back. There's a doubt. Is that right? There's a doubt as to whether In Treatment's even coming back next season. Not that really matters, but also it did win a few Emmys last year, so it does have the Huff factor. And it has Diane Wiest, and it has, really big names behind it. But really, I don't know. Do people really passionately love that show? I doubt it. If anything from HBO is going to make it in, they do. Well, if that's the case, then maybe we're just not being, we don't have enough foresight. Also, really, HBO also has Big Love on its roster. Maybe that might make it through again, even though people find that a bit icky, and they find it a little, too out there to support. Who knows? I think, for me, HBO is going to sit it out this year like it did last year, and they're not going to like it, surely.
No.
Well, I think True Blood does make it.
We know that, Chris, and you know that we think you're crazy. Now...
And you're proud.
But Chris is going to go down fighting for this one here. Look, I also think Chris is crazy about Breaking Bad. I think that is a very noble, optimistic prediction for drama series for the top 6, but neither Rob nor I agree with you, Chris. I'm going to let Rob explain why we don't agree with you. Go ahead, Rob.
All right. Well, we know we have a popular ballot this time. Breaking Bad is not really that popular. I know that maybe it is with industry people, but look, it has a small chance. It's probably the best show on TV in my opinion, but really there are just way too many big shows waiting in the wings for a nomination. Breaking Bad doesn't really seem to have as much support as it needs to break through. And will AMC really have 2 shows in the drama series category? I doubt it. Mad Men's there already. And so that's my main reason for not putting Breaking Bad in there. I'd love to see it there, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, Chris.
Well, it is a popular ballot, but it's not a it's not a popular ballot among the public. If that was the case, we'd have CSI and The Middleist coming aboard. It's Breaking Bad is very popular within the industry. If Bryan Cranston could win last year, I think it puts it on the map now. I think the second season was as acclaimed as the first season, maybe even more so. And
Even
I think
more
it's
so.
definitely on the Emmy radar, and could push through and get one of those, that fifth or sixth slot maybe.
But let me explain.
I hope so. And
Good. Let me explain something to people who are not in Hollywood. And that is, there is a factor when making predictions like this that you have to keep in mind. And that is, there are only about 1,500 to 2,000 members of the actors branch of the TV Academy. Only they participate in the popular ballot that determines the nominees for acting. Bryan Cranston, Catherine Jewston, people like this are hugely popular in the industry. They're at every event. They have supremely sophisticated social skills. Everybody loves them. They've been around forever in a million different capacities here and there. That's why a Bryan Cranston got in last year. Not that anybody was watching Breaking Bad. He has such enormous popularity himself. Then, once the panels kicked in for the final round and they saw that pilot episode of his, that's how he ended up winning, because he deserved to. I don't think that translates when you break out into the 14,000 members of the Academy and you now ask them to vote for drama series, and you're out of that little clique that knows Bryan Cranston very well and therefore knows and votes for Breaking Bad. I think that's where the assumptions that we make when we jump categories, when we analyze these Emmy races, that's where the logic breaks down. I think that Breaking Bad has zero chance of getting in here.
Really?
Absolutely zero. But Rob, you think that, and I know your logic, but explain it to other people that Boston Legal's getting back, but I can't believe it's going to happen.
I know.
Tell me why.
I know. Look, what you just said about the voters at large voting for drama series is my main reason for Boston Legal, because Boston Legal has always made it in. It won't go away. It's always there. It disappoints us every year. We're like, oh, Boston Legal? Are you kidding? Really? Boston Legal? It happens every year. And so what is to say that it's not going to happen again? All the people who aren't in all the little cliques, who are just going to be ticking off their ballots, will see Boston Legal right up the front there, and they will tick it. They love the Shatner. They love James Spader. They think it's the funniest thing on TV. It's very left-wing, and it has pretty good writing, if you like that kind of thing. And no disrespect to people in Boston Legal, I'm very sorry to say it, but we are all praying that you are not going to be in the top 6, but my prediction is that you will be, because it's just popular at large. It's popular with the broad base. So, Tom, what you just said about Breaking Bad, it really follows. It completely fits in for something like Boston Legal. It gets directing nominations, It actually gets nominations in various branches. That means, like Breaking Bad does, by the way. Breaking Bad got a directing nomination last year for its pilot. But putting that aside, it does have broad-based appeal, and you need that this year. You need it. And Boston Legal, unfortunately, hasn't been on the air for a while. Unfortunately, it's going to make it in.
Chris?
Well, David Kelly's shows have been Emmy favorites, that's for sure. But if you look back over the history of them, they're popular the first few years, but by the end of their cycles, Ally McBeal, The Practice, Picket Fences, they're not even nominated anymore for the top prizes, maybe a couple of acting categories, but by the time those shows go off the air, they're not that popular with Emmy voters anymore.